Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Hey, it's Steve Joint from MMA Mania. I think I just missed your call.
Dude, no big deal. There are many other things that are a bigger fucking deal.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, but at the same time, I know you've got a big fight coming up on World Series of Fighting next week, so I want to get the spotlight on you and make sure everybody knows about it, and it's a big test for you. Basically, come back now to fight another day because things didn't go your way the last time.
Man, me and the WSOF universe, I'm not sure how they feel about me. It's really funny because I'm a hero everywhere else, except for in there. I feel like I'm almost like an anti-hero. Like, people don't think I worked my way to get there. They sort of just think that someone dropped down and gave me a check and said, come fight. They didn't realize, I'm a 5-time amateur champion or any of my other credentials. It's kind of funny.
Right. And it's not like you didn't have a professional record coming in as well. I mean, they didn't just sign you because you were, a costume superhero. They signed you because you had legit credentials coming into the cage.
Yeah, they signed me because I was the SFL, champ of the world. I came in, I don't know, I came in undefeated. I'd never lost before. And the funny part about the loss too was, in superhero comics, when you're going to fight Superman, you don't go punch for punch with him because you're going to lose. You got to outsmart him. Lex Luthor's always dropping kryptonite in. Really, Emmanuel Walo was a bitch, but he had a great game plan. And I think that people give him less credit than he deserves, I don't like him personally because he's a punk as a person, but he's got a good fight strategy.
Well, let me get you to elaborate on that then. Since you fired the first shot across the bow here, what makes you specifically say that he's a bitch?
Well, he tried to spit on me during the weigh-in. He missed weight and then called weeks early to change our fight from a 70-pound fight to a catchweight fight, which is just, I feel that's retarded. You show up, make weight at whatever weight you're scheduled. You know what I mean? Like, don't try to change the weights. Just show up at what weight you're scheduled at. And then on top of it, he said like all this crazy, like, when I talk smack, I only say truthful things. He just said crazy stuff. And then after the fight's over, was like, oh, I'm just hyping it. Let's shake hands. No, man, you're an asshole. I'm not going to shake your hand. It's crazy.
Well, he's giving you plenty of ammunition then to feel disrespected. But I don't know if that's going to be the same case going into this next fight. I don't know that you and Roberto Young are going to have any hostilities. But then again, I never know. Maybe he'll show up and try some punk stuff too. I have no idea.
Nah, I respect Roberto's hands. I think he's got a lot of hands. I think his ground game is questionable. I think my ground game is questionable. So it's going to come down to hands on this one, I feel.
If it does, that'll be an interesting stylistic matchup, and we'll see if you've got the kryptonite for his hands in this case. Maybe he won't be able to stand with you, and he'll fall like a stack of cards, and that'll be that.
I've watched enough of his fights that I would honestly be shocked if he felt like a stack of cards. I think that this is going to be a war of attrition. I think the difference is just going to be I've got the cardio of like 50 tigers, and I don't think that he does. I think that's going to be the difference. I've never been knocked out. I've been dropped a bunch, never been knocked out. I'll take a shot and get up. I don't think it's going to happen that way. I really think it's going to be a cardio game. I think in the third round, you'll see him he put up a good fight and just can't keep the pace up.
I think the other interesting thing right now is we know more about you going to this fight than we really do about him because he's got a 2-2 record, at least the record I've been able to find on him, and his biggest fight was a loss to Esteban Payan.
Yeah, yes and no. When you look him up, though, he's got a boxing record, which isn't bad, and a kickboxing record.
Okay, well, see, that's the part I wasn't able to find. So obviously, he has more experience than what I'm able to see in my records.
Yeah, he has more experience. What happened is he came out and knocked out his first two opponents. Then ran into a wrestler and Joel Champion, and then just freaking not a lot of technique, but a warrior in Esteban Payan. I mean, that dude is a come forward, push the pace, get in your grill type of guy, even if his shots come from the hip,
Yeah, what he lacks in technique, he makes up for in just sheer heart. He'll just go out there and swing for the fences.
Yeah, you gotta love that guy. I mean, I think that's what's so frustrating about Walo for me is that I'm a realistic guy. You ask me my strengths and my weaknesses, I can draw you a fucking map. But I'm never gonna come out and try to spit on an opponent or say something crazy or talk about how the opponent's garbage. Even when I lose, I might be mad that I lost, but I'll tell you why I lost and what the plus and minuses on it. I'm not just going to say crazy shit. Like, that dude's just an arrogant asshole.
Plus, if you did that kind of stuff, it would go absolutely 100% against your superhero persona, your ability to stand up for truth, justice, in the American way. Good guys don't go around spitting on their opponent.
I agree. I think that's why it's kind of great that I can call him a bitch, because I believe it. Like, it sort of sucks when you want to say something, but you can't because you don't believe it. It's great that I believe in what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I hear that. So, it seems to me you've got a plan for Emanuelo. If you see him again down the road, you'd like that to happen.
Oh, it'll definitely happen. The good thing about being a boring fighter like Emmanuel is that he's not going to get other opportunities. Like, no one wants to see him lay on people. He never passed the guard. He never tried a submission. He literally just did a takedown clinic, which actually was kind of impressive. I did copy some of those. I've watched some tape, and I've stolen a few of those takedowns because they were slick. You know, a little bit of props there for that. But he's boring. So no one's asking him to fight again. So once I beat Roberto Young, I'm going to ask for that fight. And, you know, even if he says no now, when he's sitting in his house broke in 6 months because he sucks and his style's boring, he's going to think, man, I wonder if that Phoenix wants that fight. And he's right, I do. You know, he'll come back. I'll find him.
Well, I guess then the bottom line is this is one of those cases where you learn more from a loss than a win, because not only have you copied the parts of his style that work, you're going to be able to neutralize his style by using that.
Absolutely. I feel like it's always been like, I should have realized earlier, I've always been saved by my punching power. I've had a very good chance. Like, I've been taken down a lot in the past, and whenever I get up, I just hurt people with punching power. This was an interesting takedown because it came from Smothers. He really didn't let me get that distance and shoot real wrestling shots. They were more like wrapping your hands around the waist, you know, trips and pulls and against the cage singles, where you really don't have a chance to throw shots. And if you do throw shots, you're extending yourself up and leaving yourself high to get taken down. It was a masterful game plan, actually. As much as I don't like the guy, I smile when I watch the video. I think, man, that guy, what a tricky little fuck.
You're being honest about it. You're giving him the props he deserves, even if you don't like him personally. But it definitely sounds like there's another aspect you can pick up from that out of the loss is that, you know, judo, if you master judo techniques, that's how you can avoid getting thrown because it keeps your center of balance low, and then you can do those kind of throws that he was doing to you.
Absolutely. You know, the first thing I did is, like, some people, they get upset when they lose and they go home and they, like, cry about it and get all mad. But, I mean, being a superhero is not a story. No superhero story is a story about a guy who wins all the time. That's not it. It's a story about a guy who endures more, has special talents and gifts, and endures more than you could. And you think, man, with all those gifts, his life is still so fucked up. How did that happen? That's crazy, you know? With all the money Batman has, you know, he still can't get a girl and is up in the middle of the night crying about his parents, you know? With Superman, with all that strength and laser beams and everything else, he still can't stop Lex Luthor. That's the story. So the first thing I did is I went and talked to Russell Tupper Brown, who's a 3-time, you know, IBJF world champion, and we hit the gym, you know, and we've been hitting the gym.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you'll pick up everything you need to know from him then, and maybe you'll get a chance to show off a little of that in the Roberto Young fight. You
know, you never know where a fight's going to go. I can honestly say my intention is always to stand. Anytime someone wants to put their balls near my face, I get less excited about going to work. But if I've got to do it, I will. You know, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, for sure. Even if that's, you know, take it to the ground.
Now, I want to take it on a different tack just for a second and get away from fighting for a second. Since you are the costume superhero, crime fighter, role model, everything, I'm interviewing a comic book author tomorrow, Scott Lost. So I just thought I'd ask real quick if you've read The Second Shift.
Wait. You're interviewing Scott Lost?
Yeah, Scott Lost, L-O-S-T.
I'm trying to think. Don't tell me anything about him for a second. I'm trying to think why that name is familiar to me. I don't want you to, it's kind of weird. I want to give you an honest opinion and I don't want you to taint it. So I'm trying to think what is remembered, that's remembered by. I feel like I don't remember him from writing comic books. I love pro wrestling. I feel like
yes. He's a retired pro wrestler.
Okay, and he knows my friend Dave, and that's how I know him because I did some backyard wrestling in Oregon, and that's where I know him from. So I know nothing about his comic book credentials, but I can say that dude does some really cool off the rope, like flying jumpy stuff.
I guess he'd done one too many of the high rope jumpy moves because it started to take a toll on his body. So he went back to his roots as a graphic illustrator and a writer and said, I'm going to get into this comic book world because it's something I've always loved. So now he's got the second shift and he's doing a Kickstarter backer to get funding for a second season.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I know nothing about that at all, but I can say that I'm pumped about it and I want to definitely check it out. I love indie comics because they can go places regular comics can't go,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to.
Like,
Go ahead.
I'm making my own comic right now, actually. And I talk to a lot of really famous people who do comics and a lot of really famous companies that print comics. And when I told them what I wanted to do, they were like, no, man, that's too real. That's an autobiography. Why would you want to do that? People want to read a story. And I'm like, I get it, but I want to make it real. I want to make my comic book where when I talk about a crime, you can scan the page with the QR code and pull up the video of me stopping that crime. I want to use real criminals. I want to use real events. I want to use my WSOF fight, and if I lost, I want to lose. And people looked at me like I was insane. So I can understand the indie art of it, and I appreciate someone who goes out and does that.
See, I don't know how people wouldn't get that vision because to me, the comic books that have made successful adaptations into movies or television are the ones where the events feel real and seem believable. It's just they have abilities that normal people don't have.
See, but that's the thing, is that people are stuck up on these abilities that normal people don't have part. And in my comic book, they keep trying to make it where they want me to swing from buildings and do kind of dumb stuff. And I in the first comic book, because we're on book 2 now, right? Mm-hmm. In the first one, it starts off and I'm standing on a building and a woman gets mugged underneath this building. So I come running down to help her. And when I get there, she's laying on the ground and she's bleeding. She got hit in the head. And I say, which way did the guy go? And she looks at me and she goes, well, I don't know, you asshole. Why are you standing on a building when you can't get down to help the people you're fucking trying to help? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I just thought superheroes stand on buildings. She was like, yeah, you're retarded. I'm going to call it wait for the real police. And that's how I start my comic book off. That's how my fighting crime career started.
See, that is the kind of comic book I love to read. You're describing all the things that I like about Hawkeye, for example. It's that same level of realism, like, hey, you stupid asshole. It's like, this is how real people talk and act in these situations.
And I just remember being there and I felt so stupid because I was sitting there and I'm just like, wow, I'm like, I literally have done nothing to make this better. Or like, I bought a net gun, a couple of days into fighting crime and, I didn't realize that net guns work like you sit up in a tree blind and you shoot them down on prey that run through. And then when they run, it tangles, right? But I'm chasing this bad guy and I'm running after him and I pop the net gun out and it opens up. And I net myself because I'm running so fast and rolled into a ditch, face down into like a little ditch with like maybe 2 inches of water in it. And I'm starting to drown in this water. The criminal comes over, rolls me over, takes my wallet out, takes my money, puts my wallet back, punches me in the face, and is like, you're not very good at this, and takes off.
Well, I guess you learned from that one, but it's those kind of experiences that I think would draw people into comic books and people something they can relate to. Even if you're superpowered, you still got to be relatable.
I agree. And I think that's what makes, cause there are, I talk about those moments in my life, right? But there are also super heroic moments that other people look at and they go, I can't believe he did that. Like I was chasing a guy who had robbed somebody in Belltown. He'd stabbed a couple other people and he turned around and ended up stabbing me in the process. And while I was chasing him, I was able to glue my wound shut, tape over it, chase him, tackle him, disarm him, and have the police arrest him. And he later went down for stabbing, several other people. But it's important to note the failure with the success. And I feel the same way in my MMA career. When I fail, I'm not just hiding from it. I look at what happened and I look at how I'm going to move forward and what I'm going to do. The key is always coming back. Always saying, look, this is who I am. And no matter what you guys do to me, I'm not going to change. It's living by my own code. And I think that's what sort of missed the WSOF guys. Like not the management, but like the people who watch it. They're like, oh, F that guy. He just comes in here with his suit and he's just going to keep throwing, the way he's throwing. He's not going to change. And they're right. I'm not going to change for them. I'm not going to bow down to what they want. I'm not going to listen to their stupid things on Twitter that say I can't fight. Like I look at them but you're not going to change me. If someone was going to change it, it would have been a long time ago when I started, fighting criminals.
And one other thing that I think makes sense to me as we're talking about this is you talk about the failures have to set up the successes, and, you have to see that part of the story too. To me, that's always been the great thing about Batman is Batman didn't always win. Batman is not immortal. Batman is not superpowered, but Batman just doesn't fucking quit. And that's the thing criminals have learned to fear about him. Not that they can't beat him, but that they can't beat him for good. He won't quit.
That's exactly it. See, you understand that, whereas other people, they don't get that. Like, people keep, like, after my lawsuit, people kept writing me messages. They were like, well, it was a good try. Like, good job, we appreciate it. And I'm like, looking, I want to write them back. How many world champions do you know that are undefeated? Like Ronda Rousey, Chris Weidman, and that's it.
And Justin Gaethje.
Yeah,
he's on the card with you, so I gotta say that.
Love Gaethje. Which sucks. I have a rule about not liking people in my weight class. But how do you not love Gaethje? And I love the progression of Gaethje. You look at Gaethje round 1, or right in his first WSOF, like 8, and all he really does is just take people down and then throw a looping overhand. But it wasn't dangerous. Like, I watched him and I was like, guy's good, but he's not like impressive. Then I watched him again. He started throwing like low kicks. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Then he started comboing his hands. Then he started throwing low kicks with leg combos together. And it's a very strange progression to watch this guy, because you can tell he's in the gym digging even after winning.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He gets better every time. You can watch that progression. You're right.
And it's not like better, like where some people are like, well, he gets better every time from experience. It's not experience, because he's not experiencing anything in that is challenging him. He's getting better because he's waking up every day and saying, this is what I love about me, and this is what I want to change, finding it and doing it. And that's something that I find that like a superhero quality. Mm-hmm. To look at how your life, even when it's going good, and say, this is what I'm going to change. So I respect Gaethje like you wouldn't believe.
Well, that's cool. Hey, maybe somewhere down the line, we're going to see that fight. You keep winning, things go your way. You may end up facing him someday. I
agree. And, my Gaethje strategy is different than most people's, I think. Which is, I don't think that engaging Gaethje in a war of heart and attrition is where to go with that fight. I think that if you're going to beat Gaethje at this stage, I would feel like it's a pick-apart game. It's a lot of jabs, low kicks, running, circling, angles. It's almost like after the fight's over, you want Gaethje to be like, man, I'm not even hurt right now. And you to be like, I'm not hurt either, but you got hit more than me. Mm. Almost like you never engaged that lion heart he has. Like, you don't want to hit him hard enough to make him actually go, oh no, I'm getting hit. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. If that was going to work, it would have worked for Palomino the first time, and now they got a rematch again. And if he employs that same strategy, I don't see how it works better.
Palomino's in a lot of trouble, and the reason he's in a lot of trouble, I don't know the guy personally, but you take a leg kick and show that much damage on your body after taking it, Gaethje's going to come back and try it from the beginning now. And then on top of that, you hit him with everything in the kitchen sink on the chin, and he didn't go down, so you're not knocking him out. So where does that put you? And you're not, he's a Division I wrestler, so you're clearly not taking him down. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's a damn good question. And we're just over a week away from finding out how Palomino's going to answer that question. But I talked to Gaethje last week, and he said that he doesn't want it to go 3 rounds this time. He wants to finish it even faster.
And I feel like if he goes out and throws combination punches ending with a kick, he can do it in the first round. I really believe that.
Yeah.
The thing I would love to see Palomino do would be check the kick and answer the end of every combination with a jab and move and off the cage. I think that'll change the game up a little bit if he can get himself to the center of the cage. But Gaethje's cut off everyone he's fought. So I don't know if I just feel like that kind of unrelenting pressure, you find yourself against a cage. There's just no way around it. That's why we have walls.
And that's what Gaethje said too. He said, it's my style. It's what works best for me. When I pressure guys, they back up and they don't hit as hard when they're going backward.
And I agree. But the opposite of that is what? What are you going to do? Not go backwards? Stay in the pocket and sling hard with them? Great.
No, it doesn't work. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like where Gaethje would have trouble against a guy like if Paul Harris was a 155er.
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
Ground off his back. Ground off his back. Because Gaethje might get the takedown or or the Paul Harris type fighter might be able to flop onto his back and pull Gaethje in. I would love to see Gaethje's guard work against a really good off his back jiu-jitsu player. But I mean, even then, all he's got to do is get back to his feet and then just avoid the takedown. So I don't know. That guy might be undefeated for a while.
Yeah, I think the closest we came to that actually was notorious Nick Newell, and he tried and tried, but he couldn't get it done.
I feel like a jerk for saying this, but I'm just going to say it. So I like Nick Newell. I hung out with him a couple of different times. I think he's very, very good. But when you don't have a hand, you can't block certain parts of your face. And Gaethje hit him with the hook over the top of the block so many times, including an elbow that busted him open. And Newell was blocking the whole time. So when that fight, I don't think is ever going to be a good fight for Newell, because I don't think Newell can block accurately or effectively enough to stop a Gaethje onslaught. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from on that, but I'm sure that in his heart, Nick Newell was hoping, I'm going to get this to the ground and I'm going to tap him out.
Well, yeah, I was actually pulling for Nick Newell. I lost $5.
Oh, you had something riding on it on top of the fact that, yeah, you were just cheering for him. You had a significant stake in it. I was in town when BJ Penn was fighting Sean Shirk, and I went to the book and I asked him, what do I win if I put $100 on BJ? And they said $40. I'm like, I got to risk 100 to win 40. They said yes. I said no, and I put my money back in my pocket and walked away.
What do you think about that bet now? Do you wish you would have placed it?
Well, it would have been an easy $40. I should have done it.
That's kind of right. I mean, you never count out BJ Penn.
No, it's not that I thought he would lose. I just thought it was too little of reward for what I would put down.
Man, BJ Penn. There are so many great fighters that, like, you wonder if they passed their prime or they just stopped caring, you know? Because BJ Penn has all the tools to just be world class. And sometimes he's there, and sometimes he's not. And there doesn't seem to be a big difference. And it would be one thing if he's always not there, but he's not there, then he shows up for amazing 3 fights, and then is gone again. And I don't know, it's very confusing. BJ Penn's whole career to me is very confusing.
I agree, but that period when he was the UFC lightweight champ, I feel like he had one of the most impressive runs for that brief period of time. And even going back to the Frankie Edgar fight, I actually thought he won the first fight.
The first one was close. The second one was no contest.
Right. And the third one, I was there for the last one, and that was kind of sad.
I didn't even know why they had the last one.
Well, they did because of the Ultimate Fighter. That was the only reason.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. It really wasn't. And, Frankie Edgar is another one. I think, man, I'm a little biased here, but obviously I think the best fighter in the world, other than myself, is Demetrius Johnson.
Well, he's a good choice.
I train with that guy.
Go ahead.
I train with that guy, every other day, a couple times a week, and he is a monster, but he's always doing everything kind of technically correct. And even when he doesn't want to, or he doesn't have an opinion. Like, he's not like going through what I want to do. He just does what is the right thing to do effortlessly. And I wish I could be like that kind of person. But I have what I like and what I don't like. And Demetrius just has what is correct. He doesn't have so much as a style as he has I'm going to do the right choice.
On top of that, he's also just too damn fast for everybody. The fastest person in the flyweight division can't even come close to touching him. He's just that much faster.
I don't know if it's fast or if it's a timing scenario. I feel like it's his footwork mixed with his speed. Because on just pure speed, DJ is fast, but it's the speed plus the stepping away. Because he's moving in to hit you and stepping away to get away. And he's stepping faster than you would normally step, mixed with the fact that he's leaning out of range at the same time. So he's almost doubling his speed, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what happened in the Dodson fight. You were describing what happened.
I feel like if you had DJ and Dodson stand square in front of just a wall and saw how many punches they could throw in 60 seconds, I think you'd be surprised DJ's wouldn't be that many more. But I think if you had them stand against a wall where the guy could return fire and have them try to land as many punches while the other guy could swing back, that the response would be DJ gets hit 0 and Dodson gets hit whenever he gets hit. And I think that's the difference. And
that's what he said in the post-fight press conference. He said, look at my face. I still look pretty.
Yeah, he does. He leaves that stuff, fight for a world championship. Jim's closed on Monday. He's back in on Tuesday working on shit.
That I totally believe. That doesn't shock me at all. DJ is definitely, you don't even have to give me the testimonial. I know you know him. I know you work with him, but I just believe it just by the way the guy fights. Is that guy busts his ass more than anybody.
Yeah, he just is what he says he is, and you have to love someone who is what they say he is.
Well, that's ironic because you said earlier that, you are what you are and people seem to want to hate you, and somehow DJ gets that same response too. Like, I don't understand when people boo him. There's just something about him that sets people off. Like, maybe he's too good.
Well, DJ's got the Roy Jones curse is what I call it. It's when you make fighters that are good look average, so people don't respect your talent, That's one thing actually I don't have going for me. I make fighters who maybe shouldn't be in the ring with me. I carry them a little longer than I should, which is something that I don't like. I'm trying to get rid of that. But yeah, DJ's just so much better that he makes other fighters look average. So people who would respect it don't anymore. They're like, oh, well, that guy was no good. Like one of my friends who never heard of Dodson was watching the fight with us this week. He's like, why don't they find DJ a real opponent? And I was like, what? Like, John Dodson's legit. I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But they never seen him fight anywhere else, and he didn't look legit, so.
Yeah, no, I was there for the first Johnson-Dodson fight in Chicago, and honestly, I wanted that fight to happen again because I felt like Dodson was the only one who ever even came close to hurting him. It's not.
True, yeah.
It's not like they haven't tried to find people to fight him. It's just he keeps beating everybody. He's going to clean out that whole division at some point.
And you know what? Finally, someone says that phrase who can mean it. I was watching the Go thing the other day, listening to Conor McGregor say he's going to clear off the 145. Oh my God, bro! There are a lot of 145ers in the world here, my friend. And of those guys, you've only fought like number 8 ranked and number 5 ranked, and a guy on like a 3-day notice. I feel like he said a lot in that. Talking to Cowboy Cerrone that way, you've lost your mind.
That was the one that I keyed on when I talked to my co-host on Glove Up or Shut Up. I said to him, look, I respect Conor McGregor, but he just called out a guy who's big enough to be a light heavyweight who fights at lightweight. He's biting off a little more than he can chew with that.
And not a guy who's like, just using his range to win fights. He's a gritty, well-versed veteran of the game who is in the high prime of his life. I literally was biting my lip, looking forward like, wow. Wow.
Well, you know what? That's what makes Conor Conor, though, is he's got this amazing chutzpah and says things that no person in their right mind should ever say.
That's exactly it. And that's why I don't get why I'm not more loved by the fans, I don't get it. Because I would never do something like that. I would never come out and say something like that. If I come out and I'm like, look, this guy sucks, I'm going to put him down and around, it's because he sucks and I'm going to put him down and around. Not because I'm talking shit. Like, that's just what it is. I don't understand. It's like, and my assessments are never really that off because I'm winning just how I said. Even before the Walo fight, I said, I'll knock this dude off. He's got no hands. I said, the only way that Walo is going to win is if he manages to submit me. So, and he didn't, but he did hold me down for the whole fight. And, on the hands, he had no answer. His hands were terrible.
You know what? I guess I can't even say I'm surprised that his hands were terrible, considering that he didn't have enough discipline to make the weight. So obviously he wasn't putting in that time in the gym to get his hands better. That's
another thing I can't understand is like, we're basically assassins. Our whole job is just to train, improve in the skills we love at doing anyways, and then show up at a target weight. Like, that's not that hard. Win, lose, or draw, I have respect for everyone who shows up. But when you show up and you don't even make the weight you showed up for, it's like, really?
That's just fine if that's what happens, because usually 9 times out of 10 when I'm watching fights, the people who don't make weight lose the fight anyway.
True.
Just didn't happen in your case. You happen to be the one unlucky 1 out of 10. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, that's life. Like I said, my life's not the life of a guy who wins all the time. It's the life of a guy who endures more than other people can in a way that they wouldn't be able to.
Well, you're going to get a chance to show everybody that, and maybe you will convert some fans this time, and you fight Roberto Young at World Series Fighting 23, September 18th. Everybody's going to get to see it.
That's for sure. No matter what, I guarantee everybody's going to be a fight, and at the end of it, people are going to look and they're going to go, those guys threw down. Win, lose, or draw, that's what they're going to say. Those guys threw down.
And if they can't be there at the Comerica Theater in Phoenix, Arizona, they can catch it live on the NBC Sports Network.
You said it. I don't have to say anything after that. That was it. You nailed it.
Well, you can throw out plugs. You can give social media links and sponsors and all that stuff.
All right. I'm sponsored by Primal Combat, Epic Smoothie, which is a great smoothie joint that I love. Dig It Dog Care. My friend owns this awesome dog training company. Other than that, I mean, it's all love. Check out my comic book. I'm bringing down a couple hundred copies of the comic book to the fight. If you want a copy, come check it out. There's Phoenix Jones t-shirts online if you want one of those. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. And if you're going to write me a hate mail, I'm not going to read it, so.
He's got too much going on to take time for the haters.
Exactly, yeah. If you're going to write hate mail, just save your time, because I'm not reading it.
All right, so tweet the Phoenix Jones, but keep it on the humble and be nice, or you're just getting blocked or ignored. So, Phoenix, thanks again for the time, and I hope everything goes well on September 18th.
No problem. Talk to you soon, brother.
All right, take care.